Ethan, come in.
2 TV series and a film franchise with 7, going on 8 entries, all centered around a group defined by doing the impossible, including pulling off a name like the Impossible Mission Force. Let's peel back the rubber mask and rank the best entries in the saga of secrets that is Mission Impossible.
Oh, you're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait.
In order for there to be a best, there has to be a worst. And for the Mission Impossible saga, that's going to fall at the stylistic feat of the master of Hong Kong-style action movies, John Woo. During the 90s, Woo had formed a cult following in the United States, as dubs and subtitled versions of his movies like The Killer and Hard Boiled made their way into American VCRs and DVD players. Woo's violence ballets, atmospheric sets, and liberal use of slow-motion dubs became instantly recognizable and instantly imitated. John Woo was given the reins as part of his heavily anticipated takeoff as in America. This, however, followed some lackluster American action thrillers like Broken Arrow and Hard Target, and the ever-confounding Face Off. Brad Bird, who went from The Simpsons to directing The Iron Giant before heading to Pixar for Ratatouille and The Incredibles, was the 4th auteur director to put his stamp on the series in the 4th entry, and the first one with a subtitle instead of a number. This featured a lighter team than the moody 2nd entry, and stands out against the grim streak that had begun in the 90s. For its central set piece, it had Ethan using Benji's semi-reliable Spider-Man gloves on the outside of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. This, perhaps more than anything, set the tone for Tom Cruise doing elaborate and massive set-piece stunts. While still an enjoyable entry, it ends up being transitional in tone and structure for the person who would take the reins for the rest of the franchise so far. At the time, it might have seemed like Mission Impossible 3 was a complete reversal of having an auteur director at the helm of a Mission Impossible series, but that's only because we were just getting to know one J.J. Abrams. Not that we didn't know him at all. He was coming off the success of TV shows like Alias. Just like Woo had managed to insert a slow-motion dove following an explosion, J.J. Abrams put a recognizable stamp of his own on the movie by not ever explaining what the rabbit's foot MacGuffin actually was. This alludes to his famous mystery box that he has never opened, feeling that the mystery is a better story than the answer. Unless there's a genie in that box wondering what the holdup is. Despite the mystery box MacGuffin, a TV director was brought in because someone had to hit the beats and not take too many risks, meaning the only thing that really stands out in the movie is Philip Seymour Hoffman as the baddie Owen Davian. But standout performances was kinda what Hoffman did. Each new Mission Impossible movie is built up around what bonkers thing Tom Cruise did as part of the movie's action stunt set piece. But that's a relatively new invention for the series. The first entry's auteur director was Brian DePalma, who studied so hard at the Hitchcock School of Filmmaking that he sometimes is considered the heir to that style. That style favors suspense over spectacle. That means that the central set piece isn't extreme action sports, but extreme tension with Ethan hanging from a harness in a super secure room. Ethan hanging from stuff would get called back in the series entries until massive set-piece stunts took their place. That spectacle, unfairly or not, makes the original seem almost quaint in comparison. But it is a masterclass in action suspense, and in that regard, carries the spirit of the source material better than most. Here's where the final auteur took the stage and set the tone. Christopher McQuarrie made a name for himself with the twist-laden crime story The Usual Suspects. He brought that knack for wheels within wheels, where the smartest person in the room is the person you least suspect in the action spy thriller. But there was another thing that came with the McQuarrie films that would also redefine the series: strapping Tom Cruise to the side of a cargo jet and taking off. This was the Tom Cruise puts himself in peril for spectacle era, and there's no looking back. The movie has barely been out, but it already has all of the elements that have pushed the plucky series forward. The action stunt pieces are many, and they're long. Ethan races a train through the mountains, ending in a cliff jump that was in all the promos. Ethan finds himself back on top of a train having a knife fight. Ethan and Grace have a car chase that would make the most hardcore Grand Theft Auto player proud, moving from car to car as they make their way through Rome, literally attached at the wrist. They have to make their way through several falling train cars as they slowly make their way into the river below after the bridge was blown up. All of this happens while we find out why the movie IMF offers its agents a choice and where it gets its agents. While Dead Reckoning might be the first two-parter in name, it's ultimately the second two-part story. Previously, only relationships moved from one movie to the next. Rogue Nation and Fallout are the only two entries prior to the return of Kittredge, where the IMF agents were answering to the same guy more than once. Fallout, as the name suggests, was the fallout of the successful mission in Rogue Nation capturing the Syndicate's leader. But it also helped turn Ethan Hunt into a blank cipher for action heroes and into a character with motivations and weaknesses, earning the sixth entry the top spot.
That was not easy, but I did it.
The film series has done some crazy things, but nothing as crazy as the original series where Peter Graves pets a cat in an air duct while Martin Landau convinces a businessman he has superpowers. The original team messed with a lot of heads.